Thanks very much for joining us, everyone. It's another week that has gone past. It's been a very tiring week for me. A lot of things that I've been doing behind the scenes, as well as a lot of my normal regular work that I'm doing day to day. I just wanted to give a big shout out to those people who are in Singapore for the Coldplay concert. It's been a very interesting period for weather, okay, because I think on the second night it just rained really bad during the concert, and I think by the time people exited the concert it was just flooded everywhere and people were walking through water, probably ankle deep. So that was kind of interesting. Then we also had quite a number of incidents that happened locally. The weather definitely has changed, right? So weather-wise, it is now, at the moment, it's now a very warm period, okay? So we've gone out of the 24, 25, 26 degree range, and we're now moving into like the 29, 30s. And I think somebody mentioned today to me it was like 32 degrees here. So we're kind of reaching that usual Singapore weather, you know, around the low 30 range. But what we have right now is we have the quite a strong wind that is coming through. So we have nice, warm, dry weather, but it's also kind of coming through with a very nice, very strong, nice wind. So that's really good for those people who are in Singapore. And you'll know what I mean if you're a local here and the wind stops, then you're just going to have hot, humid weather with no breeze. And I think we all prefer this particular type of weather here at the moment. Okay, so let's cut into today's topic. Okay, we're going to look at this thing about taxi fares, and you'll have a special bonus at the end of today's presentation. You're also going to have the early release, okay, just for those people who are watching this video, the early release of the MRT overview. So this is the updated, refreshed version, which was January 2024. The ones which were published earlier were from December. So a lot has happened in 1 month, and the main gist of it was really because of GST. Okay, so the GST rates went up 1% from 8% to 9% here in Singapore, and that has resulted in the train fares going up as well, okay, just a little bit. So we're not talking major shifts, roughly about 10 cents or so, okay? So that's what we're looking at locally here, and that is also one of the reasons why I've come out with this refreshed version, okay, which will be released officially from tomorrow over the next 1 week. But those people who are tuning in tonight and watching this video, I will flash through each of those screens a bit later on, and you can do your screenshot or pause the video or do whatever you want. So you will get it earlier than everyone else, okay? All right, so let's move into this. How much does a taxi actually cost? And you would have seen the preview for this, and apparently someone was charged 3 kilometers $100, which is quite crazy, okay? But let's hear more.
Da Vinci's birthday party. I think we're late even.
It's gonna start at 3:30.
Yeah, that's the grab will take 15 hours.
I think it's not gonna be as expensive today.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, let's grab a cab, but the problem is they charge $100 for 10 minutes.
Yes, yeah, that's not gonna happen. How much?
Going to where, sir?
We're going to Park Royal Pickering.
Oh, so it's very jam over there. It'll be $100.
How many dollars?
$100. It's very jam, very jam.
$100. Let's just go. We have time.
No, I can come.
No, by the time they get here.
Let me see how long it takes, otherwise I'll just cancel it.
I don't even think it's gonna be available, to be honest. That's why he's charging $100.
Exactly.
Oh, it's found one already. It's gonna come in 4 minutes.
Okay, then 4 minutes we have.
$20. $20? Yeah. Singapore dollars.
That is cheap.
No, but you want the concept. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna come in 4 minutes.
All right, let's see.
$100 for a 7-minute ride is quite expensive.
Yes.
That's a lot. Even for the crypto bros.
But let's just see if this is going to be the case. Is he going to show up?
Is there gonna be food on the yacht?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's nice. Is there also beds if I want to take a nap?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just pause here, okay? This video was put up back in around September, okay? Where there was a particular crypto, seminar conference that was going on. And so these people came and they tried to get a taxi, okay? So just to give you a bit of context, okay, so I've taken these screenshots out. You'll see here, okay, if I zoom in, right, this is Changi Airport on the right, and then this is Marina Bay Sands, and they were going to this red dot here, okay. So if we do a quick zoom in, you'll be able to see the distance is literally, this is the Marina Bay area. It's literally round the corner and here, okay. So how much distance are we looking at? We're looking at about 3 kilometers, okay. Given traffic and all that, it's probably about 7 to 22 minutes, somewhere around there. But it does take you, it's 3 kilometers. It's not really far, okay. This is Changi Airport, this Marina Bay Sands, okay. So keep the $100 in mind. Okay, let's move to the next screen. We can see here the news story came out in the local press. Okay, you see the title. It says group of foreigners charge $100 fare to travel 3 kilometers from MBS Marina Bay Sands to a Chinatown hotel. The news story. So this is a snippet from the news story. It says the vehicle used to ferry the passengers was parked by the curb, so round the corner. Okay, reserved for taxis, and bore the taxi sign on the top of the car. As seen in the 9-minute mark of the video, the group of 5, including cameraman, were trying to hail a taxi or book a private hire vehicle to take them to Park Royal Collection Pickering. When the group approached the limousine taxi driver, whose face was censored, he told them, "It's very jammed over there, it will be $100. Jam is traffic jam. Okay? And then, so there's no dispute. The guy was charging $100. Okay. In response, one of these other people said one of the top rated comments on the YouTube video was supposedly by a taxi driver. The commenter apologized for the behavior of the taxi driver, who quoted the high fare. The comment said, "I'm sorry that such a bad experience happened to you in our country. Please note that one taxi driver you met isn't a representative of all taxi drivers in this beautiful country, and is rather someone who betrayed the moral values amongst us taxi drivers." Okay, so if you are coming from the airport, okay, does that mean you have to pay $300 because of the distance? No. Okay, so this video, I'm going to teach you how to generally calculate, okay, the taxi fares. All right, if you're coming from the airport, my guess is that a lot of you will be hopping in taxis because it's convenient. It's right in front of the arrival hall. You just hop in and then you take a taxi to the city. So what type of fares are you going to be looking at? Okay, so that's what we're going to explore today. All right, so you will see here's, I've just taken one example. Okay, I'm not going to go through every single destination, but I'm just showing you one example here of Jewel. Okay, so we're going from Jewel all the way through to Jalan Besar. Okay, it could be any other place around the city area. Your city area is around here. Okay, it's all generally around here. So the bulk of the trip is on the expressway called the East Coast Park Expressway. Okay, ECP. So if you've heard that expression, ECP is called East Coast Park. Okay, and the trip, so I've always talked about using Google Maps. Use Google Maps. This is all here. It's free. It's even on your mobile phone. Okay, if you're using an Android, it's inbuilt. Okay, so you'll see it's 19.6 kilometers. It'll take you about 17 minutes or so. Okay, so I took this screenshot a bit earlier, right, kind of in the middle of the night. And if you take the screenshot in the middle of the night, there are no cars, nothing. It'll take you about 17 minutes. but they charge you most of the charges come from the distance. Okay, so distance doesn't change whether it's day or night. 19.6 kilometers. Keep that number in mind. Okay, so we're going to do a calculation, right, a bit later on. These are the okay, so if you see on the left, you'll see lta.gov.sg. This is the government website. Okay, and the government website gives you a breakdown of how the fares are calculated, and you will see that there are different charges that apply. So flag down fare is when you get into the taxi. Okay, there's a standard charge, which is just for your regular taxis, and then there's a premium taxi, which will probably be the Mercedes-Benz, right? A white colored Mercedes-Benz or a black one. And because they're, I guess, more comfortable, if you hop into one, right, it's $4.50 to $5, right? Depends on the particular taxi company. Okay, so that's to give you an idea, right? These flag down rates apply not just from the airport, they apply anywhere. Okay, so as long as you step into a taxi in the middle of the city, in one of the suburbs, it'll cost you about that price. Okay, now the distance and time-based fares, okay, again, it's split into the standard and the premium. Okay, and then the distance is split into 1 kilometer to 10 kilometers, which is 24 to 26 cents every 400 meters. Okay, and then a similar charge, but for 350 meters or so, 10 kilometers. Okay, so if you do your calculate, and so I've done a rough calculation right here, and then I have not included the time-based charges. So this is where you're sitting in traffic and all this type of stuff, and just waiting there. Right, because the traffic light is red and you're just waiting there, and you'll see the charges going up. I haven't included that in some sample calculations, right, because it's you never know what the traffic's like, what traffic lights are like. Okay, so I've just excluded that, and it's not the significant part of the costs. Okay, the other thing that you may be charged for is the peak period charges. Okay, so again, these are taxi fares. If you catch a taxi, again, it applies anywhere, not just Changi Airport, but if you catch it somewhere between 6 and 9:30 in the morning where everyone's going to work, or 5 p.m. till midnight where everyone finishes work, or on the weekends where everyone's starting to go out for the weekend from 10 until 2, or people going out at night from 5 till midnight. Okay, then you'll get a 25% surcharge for peak period. Then if you're traveling from midnight until 6 a.m., where most people are sleeping, taxi drivers are also sleeping, and to entice more taxi drivers to come out and drive during this midnight to 6 a.m. period, there is an additional 50% metered fare. Okay, so just keep these numbers in mind. There is also this thing called a location surcharge. Okay, so you'll see these costs start to add up, right? Because there are different types of surcharges, extras, and all this type of stuff. So this one is a location surcharge. If you're coming from if your pickup point, and it's always pickup point, if your pickup point is in the city area, there's a 5 p.m. to midnight charge of $3. If it's from Changi Airport, then 5 p.m. to midnight, you get $8 charge, right? And all other times, it's still a $6 charge. Okay, so this is why the fares are higher coming from the airport. Okay, it's not just the standard rate, but you will get a surcharge on that. Then there are other places, right? So this is around the Tanjong Pagar area. This is Gardens by the Bay. If you pick a taxi up from Gardens by the Bay, you'll also get a $3 surcharge. This is the zoo. Bird Paradise is also the zoo. Marina Bay Cruise Center. So those people are taking cruises. There are also surcharges there. Marina Bay Sands, there's a $3 surcharge if you're picking a taxi from there. RWS, so Universal Studios, around there's a $3 surcharge. Seletar Airport, which is one of the airports closer to the northern part of Singapore, near Punggol area, right? But I don't think many people go there unless you're flying through Firefly to Malaysia. And then Singapore Expo, right, if you're catching something from there, and then Tanah Merah Ferry Terminal, which also goes to neighboring Indonesian islands. Okay, So there are all surcharges there. Okay, so this is what you want. It's a comparison. Okay, I just noticed a typo here. This should be 350 meters, not 300 meters, but the numbers will be around there. Okay, so what you'll see is that I've done a comparison where if you take a taxi at 11 a.m. in the morning versus 10 p.m. at night and versus 1 a.m. in the morning, right? You'll be able to see. And this is again based on the peak hour surcharges, right? So the golden number that we're looking at is 19.6, right? 19.6 is the distance between Changi Airport and Jalan Besar. The flag down fare was from the chart. You do your distance calculation, it's about $6.50. Over 10 kilometers, the rate should be 350 meters, but it's about $8. Then this is the area that makes a difference, right? The peak surcharge, right? So the additional 25% based on the time, this is 0, okay? Because you're going at 11 o'clock in the morning, right? We assume we're taking it from the airport to Jalan Besar. Is there a late night hiring fee? No, because it's 11 o'clock in the morning, so that's 0 as well. And then your location surcharge, Changi Airport, is it kind of the 5 p.m. to midnight? No, it's not, so that's 0. But all other times, yes, so it'll be a $6 surcharge. So if you add up all of these, $4.80, $6.50, $8 something, $6, it's about $25, okay? So that is with no loading, so no peak surcharge, no late night, no peak hour surcharge from Changi Airport. Okay, now if you're to move it to nighttime, for example, okay, the difference, it's the same numbers here, flag down, distance, right, under 10, over 10, but the time would be 10 p.m. at night. Okay, so 10 p.m. at night, let's say it's a Monday, it'll be a weekday, it'll be 5 to midnight, right, including public holidays, so it'll be a yes. So you get a 25% on about $18. Okay, so 25% of $18, it's, you know, 4 something, which is this number here. Okay, also because you're doing it at 10 p.m. at night, right, there are location surcharges, right, could be an $8 charge, right, so I need to double check on this whether it's I think, yeah, that's right. So it's a $8 surcharge, right, if you're coming from the airport back into the city, right? So if you add all of these up, right, it'll be, again, it's the $18 plus another 5, which is 23, and then plus another 8, right? So it brings up 31, 32, somewhere around there. And then if you, let's say, take something from the airport out at 1 a.m. in the morning, okay, just note that there are no buses and no trains at that particular time, so taxis are really the only way to get out. And if you do that, again, the charges for the flag down fare still same, $4.80, $6.50, $8, and then you get the late night hiring charge, right, because it's after midnight, so it'll be like a $9 charge, which is 50% of the $18, right? $18, $19. So that's why you get the 9 something. And in addition, you also get, oops, I think I've got these the wrong way around. Sorry, this is the wrong way around. That should be the $8 here, right? And this should be the 6. So this one should be like $30, and this is going to be like $37. I'll just change it on the slides later. Okay, so it's about, so altogether, if you're looking at traveling in the morning, it's about $25. If it's 10 p.m., it's about $30. If you're looking at 1 a.m., it's about $37. Okay, roughly around there. Okay, so those are the prices that you're looking at. Now, just a few tips on taxi and Grab, right? Here are the things you need to know. Okay, and these are really important. Now, regarding taxis, okay, there are multiple companies. The bulk of them are blue and yellow. Okay, you do get some red, greens, and other colors as well. All right, but what you do need to do is to focus on just getting a taxi which is outside the arrival hall. Okay, there's a particular person assigned to direct you and tell you go to go to like stand number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So there are different stands, and there'll be a person telling you to go there. So you don't need to worry about someone touting and, you know, you having to go and approach just like these other guys at Marina Bay Sands. You don't need to worry about that, because these ones are assigned to you, okay? So they charge you by meter, okay? That's the biggest thing. So just take whatever is assigned to you, do your homework, okay? So you have an idea of what the taxi fares are, right? Just like the example that I gave you. You also find that at particular times like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. it does get more difficult, okay? Why? Because these taxi drivers live in the suburb areas, and they usually take shifts. So there are usually 2 taxi shifts, right? Sometimes 3. But if somebody, if the driver says, okay, my shift is going to end, it usually ends somewhere between 3 and 5 p.m. So they will go drive back to the neighborhoods, swap with the other taxi driver, who then drives back out, right, and does the shifts. So it's actually 3 to 5 is where you do the shift change. And this particular behavior to me was a bit surprising, and I must admit I was a bit offended, right? Because what will happen is you flag a taxi by the side of the street, right? The way you flag a taxi is put out your hand, okay, like this, and then wave your hand like this to get the attention of the taxi driver. So you do that, but sometimes a taxi driver will it'll be green, right, or it'll say a particular suburb name, right, and then they will kind of look at you, slow down, and then they'll just drive off, okay? And I'm just like, what, the taxi is, you know, available, why didn't they pick me up? And I'd get offended, right? Another thing is they would drive by, they'd stop in front of you, wind down the window, ask you where you're going, and then you say, you know, I'm going to wherever, Sentosa or something, and then I'll say, and they won't say anything, they'll just wind up the window and drive off, right? And I'll be like, what's that, right? But actually, if you realize it's between 3 to 5 p.m, that is the behavior. I know communication is not great, okay? They should at least say, sorry, you know, I'm going to a particular place, or you're thinking, this is a taxi, why are they picking and choosing certain destinations, right? Why are they rejecting me and then drive 10 meters up the road, stop the car, talk to somebody else, and then pick them up rather than pick me up, right? This is the reason why, okay? And I know it's not communicated properly all the time, so just, you know, bear with it, and this is why I'm telling you, so you don't get offended. Okay, then the other thing to do is, okay, this is a good practice. It's something that I still do today, okay, is that before you step into a taxi, right, you open the door and then just ask, you know, say, I'm going to a particular place, and just say, later I will need a receipt, okay? Just keep it simple. Later I will need a receipt, and the taxi driver should say, okay, because all of them should have receipts, right? And in a way that kind of hints to them that, you know, don't take me for a ride, because at the end of the trip, I'm going to have the distance that I traveled, I'm going to have where the time that I traveled, I'm going to have a breakdown of the surcharges and the fares, right? So you'll be able to have a breakdown of everything on that particular receipt, as well as the taxi driver, as well as the taxi number plate. Okay, so if there is any dispute, if there's any overcharging, anything like that, you don't need to kind of remember what the taxi number was, or dispute and say, oh, you charged me this, and they say, no, I didn't, you know, this type of stuff, because it's all documented on the receipt. Okay, so it's a kind way of just saying, you know, I want a receipt, I will keep record of everything, right? So hopefully, you know, the chance of getting scammed and all this type of stuff is yeah, not so so common, right? And hopefully you don't experience it. Okay, the other thing is seatbelts. Okay, I know in some countries seatbelts are not required. Actually, by Singapore law, it is required. I know a lot of people still don't wear seatbelts, but yes, it is required by law. Okay, so if you do step in a taxi, put on the seatbelt. Taxis are also exempted from child seat requirements. Okay, now this is a bit unusual, and you can go and read up online, right? Or if you need some documentation, I can send it to you. But in general, if you have children, you put on your seatbelt and you hold your child, right? In a taxi. That's the way people usually do it. Okay, it's different for private hire car vehicles like Grab and all that, but I'll come to that. Price is by meter. Okay, so when you get in a taxi, they're turning on the meter, right? And then if there are surcharges, again, they will kind of add extra charges on the meter. If you do, like I said, you know, if you get a receipt, okay, you should be protected, right? Because at the end, you just pay whatever the amount is. You can bring back the receipt with you, and if you think, you know, something's a bit suspicious, you can go and raise a query, right? But you know that everything will be documented if they're going to charge you, right? And then payment is by cash or credit card, right, for taxis, and tips are not expected. Okay, if you want to tip the taxi driver, go ahead, but in Singapore we don't offer tips, okay, as a general culture and practice. Okay, so if it's like you get 5 cents change, normally it's 10 cents now. If you get 10 cents change, you normally get 10 cents change, right? If you want to feel generous, you can, you know, let the person keep the change, right? Okay, and then private hire cars, right? So these are there are multiple operators around. Grab is one of them. Okay, it is not the only operator around, and this is not sponsored, so I'm not saying choose a Grab versus other operators, but it is the largest operator around. Okay, so if you are looking for available options, right, then the largest operator would have the most vehicles on the road. Okay, so just using Grab as an example, right, you can. Okay, the difference with Grab is that it's all based on time. Okay, so at a particular time, it's supply and demand. If you go to the Grab app and you click the booking button, you'll be able to see what the price is that, you know, they're quoting for getting a particular Grab vehicle, right? If you know the price of the taxi fare, right, through your earlier calculations and planning, you will also know whether it's cheaper to get a Grab or whether it's cheaper to just get a taxi. Okay, so you should be able to make that decision, right, if you've done your homework and you know what the approximate taxi fare is. Okay, then you can decide at that time, let's get a Grab or let's not. Okay, so do your homework. That's why it's important. Seatbelts are required. Okay, so I'll get rid of the 4. But seatbelts are required. You need to wear a seatbelt. It's a private vehicle. You need to do. Okay, it's the same like the taxi. And then the situation. Okay, so this is where it's different. The situation with children, okay, who are under 1.35 meters. Okay, they are supposed to be seated in with a car seat. Okay, it is by law that a private vehicle, which is different from a taxi, which is a public vehicle, it is a requirement that there are car seats, okay, and that everyone is belted up. Okay, so just again, this is not sponsored, but Grab has this thing called Grab Family, okay, where you can get a larger vehicle or a vehicle with car seats, okay, a proper baby seat and all that stuff. Okay, so if you are concerned, right, and if you want to do things the right way, you call for a Grab Family. Okay, or if you take a taxi, there's no seatbelt requirement, just hold your child. Okay, it's up to you as parents. Okay, and then the last bit I talked to you about the supply and demand, right? The particular price that they're charging, right? And it's fixed by the app. And then payment is by using the app. I think cash is also available, right? But I think most people just use the app. All right. Okay, the last slide on the on this is about airport transfers. So a number of people have inquired about having large groups. Okay, some people say I've got a group of 12. Some people say I've got a family of 5. Right? In a taxi, the maximum you can fit is 4 passengers. There's a driver plus 4 passengers. That's five people in a taxi. So if you are a family of 5, you take 2 taxis, 2 standard taxis. Or if you want, you can go for these other options. Okay, so let me just zoom in here. Okay. All right, so this is on the Changi Airport website. Okay, so you can go and have a look. Okay, you can book a ride. Generally, most people don't book. I think they just turn up at the counter. And I will tell you, I roam around the car parks sometimes, and there are lots of these larger vehicles, right, that are around, and just the drivers are all just hanging around, sitting there, just waiting for someone to book, right, or for someone to call them. Okay, so at every particular arrival hall, there is a desk. Okay, there's an information counter looking at these types of things. So you can just go up to a desk, and these are the prices here. Okay, so for a 4-seater vehicle, okay, it's $55 per trip to any destination in Singapore. Okay, for a 7-seater vehicle, it's $60 per trip to any destination in Singapore. Okay, or if you want to take a shuttle bus, okay, it's $10 per adult, $7 for a kid. But honestly, I mean, if you're going to take a shuttle bus, you might as well catch the MRT, right? So I think the 4-seater, maybe the 7-seater would appeal to more people, because a 4-seater you can just put everyone in a taxi unless you've got really a lot of luggage, right? But I think most people would probably take this 7-seater option here. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea. Like I said, there are desks there. Okay, so if your group goes up to the desk at T1, 2, 3, or 4, it's always at the arrival hall. I know the one at T2 is run by this group called Woodlands Transport, I think it is. Okay, but you just go up to a desk and tell them, you know, we need 1 vehicle, 7 people. It'll be like $60. You're all going to one place. Okay, so this is the price for one place. If you want two hotels or something, then I think I'm expecting the price will be different. I don't know if it's double, but the price will be different. Again, you got to go and talk to the people at that particular counter. Okay, all right, so that's giving you an idea of how the transport situation works, and I think that is the end. Okay, so now for the extra bonus section. Okay, so this is the MRT quick reference guide. Okay, the one that I've been working on behind the scenes. It's been, like I said at the beginning, it's been a very long week. Had a few issues at work to sort out, and then I've got this, and then I've got people asking me a whole bunch of questions on private chat. Okay, so it's been an exciting week for sure. So I'll just tell you that I will release this during the week, right? So starting, I think our first one is going to be Monday 9 o'clock. Okay, and then I will release we've got seven of these guides, and we'll release them gradually throughout the week. Okay, so stay tuned, keep refreshing the page, and go and check it out. But if you want, I will give you a moment now to just screenshot these particular pages, okay, and then I'll upload this video afterwards. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is just to give you a map. Okay, so this is around the city area. Okay, you'll see familiar names: Little India, Jalan Besar, Rochor, Bugis, Lavender, Aljunied, Paya Lebar. What else do we have? City Hall, Outram Park here, which we'll be seeing quite a bit. Harbourfront, Clarke Quay, Chinatown, Gardens by the Bay. Okay, so these are the places which continually pop up. Actually, it's quite easy, right? You'll see that anything, if you wanted to change, right, anything with 3 together, right, would be an interchange, right? So it's a place where the lines converge, and you can actually change trains between the different lines. right? So you've got Chinatown, which is purple and blue, Outram Park, which is green, purple, and brown, and then you've got all the others. Okay, so a couple of tips. Okay, this is important. Do not run. Okay, don't fall down, have accidents, bump into people, and all that stuff. Okay, if you see the train is there, don't rush and try to get the train. Okay, it's a 2-minute to 5-minute wait. I think the top is like 7 minutes or so, or it used to be 7 minutes. Probably they've brought the times down. Okay, so it's different to, like, for example, Australia, where I had to go and study at a particular place, and it took me like there was a train every 30 minutes. Okay, so if you missed your train, that was it. You had to wait another 30 minutes, right? But this doesn't apply. Okay, it's every 2 to 5 minutes, pretty much everywhere in Singapore. Okay, so in saying that, don't rush and make sure you catch the train in the right direction. Take your time. Look at there's adequate signage right above the doors of the MRT. Okay, sorry, the entry doors to the MRT. There's adequate signage at the top, and you just see which way am I going. Make sure you get on the right train, because the trains go in both directions. Don't hop on the wrong one. Okay, you got adequate time. Next thing to do is just note that some stops, okay, are actually, I would say it's actually quicker to walk, right, between certain stops. Okay, I will tell you that, for example, okay, good example, you see this Clark, let me zoom in, you see this Clark Quay station right here, it's on the purple line, there is only the purple. And then you see this Fort Canning, there's only a blue. Okay, but in the middle here, it's actually the Singapore River Cruise. Okay, so instead of kind of going, let's say you're on the blue line, you know, I don't know, somewhere here, or no, let's say you're up, you know, Jalan Besar, and you want to get to the purple line, instead of kind of taking a very convoluted route, right, and going all the way down Jalan Besar, right, all the way down to Chinatown, then going back. You could do that, but actually the Singapore River Cruise is in the middle. So what you could do is just go Jalan Besar down to Bencoolen and get off at Fort Canning and just walk, right, rather than going the whole way around, changing trains and then coming back. Okay, so that's just giving you an idea. So do your homework, check if I've tried to kind of make it as simple as possible for you, okay, but you still need to do the homework and just double check your route and where you're coming from and all that stuff. Again, use Google Maps. All right, the other thing to note is that if you have children who are under 7, they travel for free. Okay, so all you got to do is just put them, the gates are in front of you, right, put them in front of you, and then scan your or just tap your credit card or EasyLink card, right? The gates will open, then you get your kid and you walking through together. Okay, and there won't be any problems. Okay, if you've got kids who are a bit taller, then you can just go to the, I think there's the ticket office, and then you can go and tell them, hey, you know, my kid is under 7, right, here's the passport, and I think there is an option to get a free pass, right, just to prove that the kid is under 7, but, you know, the kid is actually quite tall. Okay, all right, so here you go. These are the things to have a look at. Okay, so I've added a couple of things, right? Bugis, you'll see the same old Bugis one. I've given you some color codes, right? So Bugis, there's a green line and a blue line. You will see here you've got Singapore. We're going from Changi Airport, so every slide now has a Changi Airport option as well. So you go from Changi Airport, and this is a new column here, so I've added in like how to do the changes. Okay, so if you wanted to go from Changi Airport to Bugis, and if you wanted to go through to the blue line, okay, you could go through the blue line. You'd have to change it Expo and then go to Bugis. Or if you wanted to go Changi Airport to Bugis via the green line, then you go and get off at Tanah Merah and then swap. okay, and go to Bugis. If you're going to Bugis to Chinatown, right, it's the blue line. There is no changing required. So you just stay on the train the whole way and you get through. Okay. So these are this additional column is a lot of work. It's very manual. I had to go through one by one, so hopefully it's all correct. Okay. But it really makes it a whole lot easier for you as to whether I need to change trains or whether I don't. Okay. All right. I've seen some questions. I'll answer the questions a bit later. Okay. Then we also have okay, the distance, right, is still the same. The pricing has changed. Okay. So some things have gone up about 10 cents. Okay. So you see there's a bit of a price change here. Okay. 10 cents isn't too much for most people, I think. So hopefully it doesn't change your mind as to whether to take an MRT or not. I still think the MRT is the best way, right? Because buses, you still have the chance of missing out on a particular bus stop and then having to get off the bus and then figure out how to get back, and it's not straightforward. Even for someone like me, as a local, to backtrack and figure out where I should have got off and which way to turn, it's not easy. Okay, so that's Bugis. Take a screenshot. I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next one is Lavender. So I'll give you 3 seconds for this one. Okay. Next one is Geylang, right? Or Al Junaid. Okay. Next one is Clarke Quay. Next one is Jalan Besar. Chinatown. I think the last one is Little India. Okay. So I think that's about it for today. I've tried to make the session a bit shorter, and I know it's not really that short, but I'm trying to condense the sessions to make them a bit shorter and a bit better for you guys. I know it's a lot to sit through, and I try to get through it really quickly, but there are still things which are really important. The tips especially, right, because you won't be able to see those in any particular document. Like, for example, the 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. thing for the taxi. You won't find it anywhere, but only locals will know that. So that's why, I need to explain these things to you guys, right, because you won't find it. Okay, so wish you a pleasant week, and thanks very much for joining us. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry, one more thing. The questions and answers. Let me just check. Okay. That was a scary spot. Let's see. Questions and answers. Okay. This one. Okay. Is from De Leon Dons. Is the bus available from Changi to Geylang? I think I've answered this in one of the I think I've answered this before. It is available, but I think at the time that you were looking at, it would be a stretch. It really is better, right? If you want to go to Geylang, really go to the go to the MRT, right? Catch it from Changi to Tanah Merah, change the train, and then head down. Okay. If you are arriving later, okay, it is going to be difficult because there is no train up. I think the last train from Changi Airport is 11:18 p.m. Okay, 11:18 p.m. You can go to the website, right? I think it's the Transit Link website, and then you'll be able to see when the last trains. I'll post it for you as well. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful for you. Angeline, let's see. I see you already mentioned it now. Whoops. Mention it now. So just 4 passengers in a taxi. Yes, 4 passengers in a taxi. Unless you get one of those kind of the multi-seater ones, like the 7-passenger ones, right? Then you can, I think it's like $60 per trip, right? That's another option. But if you're traveling kind of during daytime, it might be easier just to get 2 taxis, right? What's this one? Jerriver. What time is the last trip of buses going to Geylang? Yeah, I think this, I will need to check and get back to you, right? There is no direct bus, okay, and you would need to change buses, right? So, I will get back to you. I'll post a reply to this, right, in the chat, okay? And I think that's it. Let me check. Hold on. Okay, De Leon Dons. I'll be arriving. Okay, 5 p.m. Yeah, honestly, 5 p.m. Right? Just it would be easier. Just go and catch a train. Okay, catch a train and then head down to Tanah Merah and then change trains and continue on. Get off at Al Junaid. Okay, that'll be the easiest thing. Okay. Alright, I think that's about it. I will end this live. Thanks very much for joining, everyone. Have a pleasant week. Bye.